Welcome to Real to the T, where the real gets realer, the tea gets hotter, and the motivation hits harder than your favorite espresso martini. Hosted by Amanda Rupley, top 1% realtor, best-selling author, speaker, and founder of Aspire Realty Group, this show is your VIP pass to the chaos, comedy, and candid truth behind real estate, pop culture, and life as a boss mom building an empire. From wild closings to headline-sparking hot takes, and that final sprinkle of inspiration you didn't know you needed, nothing's filtered and nothing's off limits. So buckle up. It's time for Real to the T.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a brutally honest real estate agent and a redheaded Barbie bombshell lender with zero filter get behind a mic? Well, I got a spoiler alert. We spill everything except for our champagne, but we do drink the champagne. Welcome back to Real to the T, the show where real estate gets real, pop culture gets messy, and we don't gatekeep the good stuff. I'm Amanda Rupley. I'm a top 1% realtor in Dallas-Fort Worth, founder of Aspire Realty Group, and your brutally honest bestie behind the mic. And today I'm not alone. I brought in one of the most iconic, bougie, bold, and borderline dangerous women in the industry because she comes with the tea. Y'all, this woman is a walking mic drop. She walks in and the energy shifts. Like, literally everything shifts to her. She's got the big Texas hair. She's got the pink Barbie Porsche. She's got the long, beautiful hair and the most incredible fashion sense I've ever seen. She just bebops her way right in here and just dominates and commands a room. So Cara Hawkins has been a powerhouse lender in the Dallas-Fort Worth market for over 20 years. She's seen it all. She's funded it all. She's worked with the best of the best agents across the market. And she's here today to spill the behind-the-scenes secrets about the lending world, the clients, the agents, the deals gone sideways, and everything else you won't find in a glossy marketing post. But here's the intro to the tea. This boss closes on average in this market 15 transactions a month, averaging around $6 million a month in loans, which is mind-boggling. So that intro in and of itself. Now, please take it, Cara Hawkins. Welcome. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Goodness gracious. I don't know if I can top that. I've never heard myself described that way all in one paragraph. All those things are true. I have been lending in this market for, that amount of time, and I have seen a lot of things. I always say I haven't met a loan I couldn't get approved at some point. So, I love what I do. I love my bouginess. I don't make apologies for it. I say I have to close loans so that I can be this bougie. But I'm self-sufficiently high maintenance. So, I make the decisions on that.
But that's the great thing about being able to make the decision. You get to live unapologetically the way that you want to.
Right.
And one thing when we met, we're new friends, actually, for those that are watching or listening.
I followed you for a long time.
You did follow me for a long time. I tell everybody there are two people in my life that I always say are pleasantly persistent. And one of those is Kylie Moore at Republic Title.
Okay, I adore her too.
I adore her, and she just has that same vibe. Yep. But I knew for the longest time that we were supposed to be friends. Yeah. And Amy, of course, our mutual friend, she knew.
Yeah.
And it was like the first time we sat down for happy hour, it was the very first time we met, and it was like we'd known each other forever.
Yep.
And I just
definitely
appreciate
felt that way.
I did too.
Yeah.
And
but not everyone's for us.
I mean, you're bougie. Like, I thought I was bougie. You take my bougie and you bust through the ceiling.
I just like to have fun.
I love it, though. I love it so much. In fact, it's kind of like made me step up my bouge.
Okay. Well, I'll take credit for that. I think I scare some people if they don't know me. I have one of those personalities that you're almost afraid to get to know. But once you get to know me, you know that I'm like the most down-to-earth person. I mean, I was born and raised in northwestern Oklahoma on a farm. So
let's talk about that because a lot of people don't know that. And
No.
I was actually very surprised when you shared that.
Yeah, my parents still
You're
live in the house
a good
I
old
grew
country
up in.
girl.
Yes. So my family, they're wheat and cattle farmers. My parents are retired now, but they still live in northwestern Oklahoma, 25 miles from the nearest town.
Wow.
You have to drive 10 miles to the nearest gas station. So I am from a very remote part of the U.S., and I'm very proud of that. And it really 100% made me who I am today because the work ethic, if you weren't born and raised on a farm, um, I learned to drive at 7 years old. I was driving by myself on the highway at 7 years old in a
Wow.
standard. Um,
Okay, shout out to all those that drive standard because many people can't. That's
I don't
my
even know if I
jam.
could now.
I
Where
love a standard.
my heels are too high to
Wait,
do
your
it now.
Porsche isn't a standard?
No, I
They don't
got an
make them?
automatic.
Okay.
Yeah, I ordered it.
Yeah.
So I had it done. They were like, "Oh, that's not a real Porsche enthusiast." And I'm like, "Well, I'm a practical woman. So I'm paying for this. I'm getting exactly what I want."
Yeah, no kidding.
So,
I
yeah,
mean, mhm.
I had a standard and my floor mats were rubbing onto the back of my heels and it was ruining my shoes. And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Nope, not doing that."
Uh-uh.
So, anyway,
The
I'm
shoes over the floor mats.
100%. Yeah. So
Were they red bottoms?
these are.
I saw.
Most of mine are. That's the other problem. I have to close loans so I can buy the shoes.
Do you see
Um,
mine? They are not.
that's okay. Girl, I wear everything. I
I know I do too.
literally, if I like it, I'll buy it. I don't care if it's from Target. I don't care if it's from Walmart. I don't care if it's from Temu.
Mhm.
I have from all of those places.
But that's kind of our industry, right? Like you
Yeah.
buy different pieces and you kind of
Yeah.
mix
Put it
and
all
match it to
together.
put it all together. And
Absolutely.
I think that that's something that's probably a misconception, honestly, for our industry
Yeah.
too, is everybody just assumes that we have to be head to toe in the Rolex and the Chanel and the,
No.
Louis Vuittons and drive all the things, right? Because that's how reality
Yeah.
TV makes it. And listen, there is definitely a piece of this industry that's super vain and about that,
For
right? I mean, we
sure.
have a part that we have to play, but also we can play it ourselves too,
Right.
you know?
So 100% agree with you. And I think Dallas is probably one of the worst markets for that.
Mhm.
That old adage of the $30,000 millionaire real estate is the problem child for that meme.
Mhm.
Because I see it a ton. There's like, "Oh, well, I was the top producer in my office." Well, there's two people in your office, or top
Yeah.
producing lender, top producing agent. That's very subjective.
Mhm.
And I think that the bouginess is, a byproduct of that because of the image that people feel like they have to convey. I don't feel like I have to do any sort of image. I'm behind a computer all day. I am literally a nerd behind a computer all day. Um, I like these things.
Mhm.
So, but also, I thank God I was raised by a very fashionable grandmother. Wasn't raised by my grandmother, but my mom is like the kindest, most wonderful, like loving person. My grandmother was like very stylish. She had a closet full of furs,
Oh, wow.
like a closet full of leather.
Uh,
So I got that from her,
she
but
was the epitome of a Southern woman.
100%.
Okay.
She never went to church without a hat on.
Oh, I
She always had
love.
her gloves on. I just envied. I mean, she was the most beautiful thing.
Mhm.
And, I just grew up and she would like take us to, Dillard's. That was like the
Oh,
nicest place,
yeah.
around where we were from. And we would like get
But
like
Dillard's was very kind of known for being more of
Nordstromish.
an yeah, it was definitely more of an
Yeah.
elevated brand,
Yeah.
I mean, we're old,
I
right?
still
So
shop at Dillard's.
oh, I do too. I
I
love
love
it.
it. The shoe department at Dillard's is like, I love it so much.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like I know all the ladies there,
yeah.
although probably not anymore because I do a lot of online shopping.
Yeah.
But it's really hard because I have Oompa Loompa feet.
Oh,
And
like Barney Rubble?
yeah, like my mom used to say that they were Flintstone feet because I
Yeah.
have
See,
essentially
Barney Rubble.
yeah,
That's
I have
Flintstone.
no toes. And so trying to find size 5 shoes is
5.
brutal.
Oh,
Do you
baby.
know that I have to buy in children's
Kids?
now?
Yeah.
Like, thank goodness these girls nowadays are wearing high heels. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'd be completely lost. I
Yeah.
wouldn't know what to do with
Yeah.
my life.
5 is small. I mean, my feet are fairly small only because like my mom and sister wear like 9 and 10. But
And what size
5
are
would
you?
be hard. I'm a 7.
Okay.
Yeah. And my
Yeah.
feet have like grown since I've gotten older. Like what's happening? Like my bones are
It's
shrinking, but my feet are getting bigger. Like what's
well,
happening?
it's that part.
Things have gone awry.
Somebody once told me it all goes downhill after 40. And while I feel better than I've ever felt, whew,
I don't
they
feel better than I've
weren't.
ever felt, but I'm more confident than I've ever been.
That's I think what I mean more,
Yeah.
right? Like don't get me wrong. When I get out of bed in the middle of the night to
I'm
pee for the
creaking.
third time,
Like I'm just
I
creaking.
literally my knees are popping
Yeah.
and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. I have to get up slowly. I'm like, sometimes I get up too fast. I'm like, what is happening? I'm like so cute. And,
Hmm.
I'm like, no, I'm really not.
Do you feel in your head though that you're still in your 20s?
Absolutely.
I do
I
too.
look in the mirror and I literally still see a 21-year-old who is just blowing and going,
Yeah.
taking on the world. So I've always been really confident, probably like overly confident, but now like I have everything in the world to stand behind that. So when I look in the mirror, I'm like, this is exactly who I thought I was going to be and exactly who I want to be.
Isn't that really refreshing though?
hmm Yeah, I hope
Because
my daughter gets that.
yeah.
I hope she does because I remember probably being pretty insecure, like in high school and stuff, and really worrying about what people thought of me. And, those people don't make a shit to me now.
Uh-huh.
I don't even think about those people.
And that's really interesting because could you imagine had we grown up in the age that our kids, because we
hmm
bond over that too. We've
Yeah.
got children that are the same age that
Right.
we're going into our senior mama year,
Okay.
and
Yeah. I can't talk
I
about it.
can't. I literally cry in
Yeah. I was
Target.
like,
I'm
I
not
can't
kidding.
talk about it.
Um, which I'm sure we'll dive deep into at
hmm
some point, through this series. But I just keep thinking about the things that I did and the mistakes that I
hmm
made at this age
Yeah.
and did it, privately, right? Because you didn't have a camera in your face. You didn't have podcasts, you didn't
No.
have social media. You didn't have all the things that, all of these people now have,
Yeah.
right? And it just makes me sad for this generation because I certainly can understand why we as a society are dealing with struggles of mental illness
hmm
and confidence issues and
Yep.
comparison is the thief of joy,
Yep.
right? This podcast is a big part of that,
Yeah.
honestly. I put it off for the longest time thinking like I'm not worthy to do it against some of
Yeah.
these other people,
Right. Nobody's
you
gonna want to
know.
hear this.
Right.
Right.
And frankly, I'm kind of in that place just like you said. Like I look in the mirror and while I would like to rewind maybe the physical clock by
Yeah.
about 10 years,
Yes.
I'm also, really coming to terms with who I am in my own skin, which has
Yeah.
been a tough journey, particularly in this industry.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
And it's this industry, I was gonna say that it's so humbling.
Hmm.
Um, it is the it's the highest of highs and lowest of lows because, we were talking before this started, like I'm having a great month. I'll probably close $8 million this month. It's good.
Hmm.
Next month, I start at zero. And, I don't get paid unless I close loans. And no one on my staff gets paid unless I close, so it's
And
just
you're
so
carrying that weight.
humbling. It's so humbling
Right.
because you think you're really rocking and rolling, you're doing good, you're at the top of your game, and then July 1st, you just start over again
Mm-hmm.
and you're right back at zero with everyone else. So that psychological warfare has been going on with me for 25 years. So
25 years you've been doing this.
25 years. Yeah, well, 25 years in September.
And what do you do to kind of keep you grounded when you're in the highest of the highs and you're closing 20 deals a month or your best month? Your best month, what was it?
My best month, oh gosh, 30 to 40 loans.
Okay.
At the height of my career in 2020 and 2021 when we were
Ugh,
closing 300 loans a year.
crazy.
That's
That was the Wild West.
it was.
People don't understand that that's
Yeah.
historic and we're never going to see that again, I would
Yeah.
imagine,
I
in
don't
our
think I
lifetime.
will. I don't think I will. Me getting to 200 loans is hard.
Sure.
But I think that stay grounded because I have months like next month that are coming up when I don't know what I'm going to close.
Right.
When the numbers are like, gosh, I can't even pay my bills off of what I have in my pipeline right now. So
Hmm.
I think that constant reminder keeps you
Hmm.
humble, keeps you
Hmm.
working hard. I can't bask in June for long because I have to start thinking about July. And I mean, I'm getting married and, it's been a, it's been a tough year.
But wait, let's talk. Okay, hold on. So you're getting married,
I'm getting married. I'm
and
a 46-year-old bride.
you're doing it. You're doing it in Italy,
I am.
which
Yeah.
means you're taking a vacation, which also means that a vacation in this industry
I've
never
actually never
happens.
taken a vacation.
Uh-huh.
That's not true. I go places all the time.
Right,
This
but you're
career
never
has been
off.
such a blessing.
Mhm.
I have never once turned my phone off. Never once. Um,
Will you for the wedding?
I will for the wedding day. I
The
am
wedding day.
well, I'll probably still have my phone with me. I have the most amazing staff. Some are staying behind. Um, yes, I'm gonna try to for the wedding day. So, but the thing is, like, it doesn't bother me to work.
Mhm.
So, yes, when I'm in the ceremony, I'm not going to have my phone,
You're gonna be like,
but
the priest is gonna be asking you if you do,
yeah.
and you're gonna be like, hold on a second.
Andrew would
Answering your text
totally,
message.
he would totally anticipate that,
You'd
to
be
be
like,
honest.
hold on 1 second. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, what was the question?
I do. I do this too. But no, I'm gonna do my best. I don't make apologies for the way I work.
Yeah.
I love what I do.
Mhm.
So it does not bother me to be on a beach with my phone because I still have the blessing of being able to be on a beach with my phone.
How
Right?
does Andrew, your fiance,
Hmm.
how does he handle that? Because it is a tough balance, right?
He handles it very well.
Okay.
I'm actually super surprised because I think that that's probably what broke up my marriage. We're both lenders.
Mm,
We were both
tough gig.
struggling, biting and clawing so hard to survive for a long time. Like we were both self-made. We both started with absolutely nothing. I mean, we had one car that only drove in reverse. I don't even know why we kept that car. One bedroom apartment. We couldn't even afford daycare for my son when he was born. So, you know, I think that was the downfall of us because
Mhm.
we worked so hard on just creating that life and trying to get by and, just trying to accommodate that struggle that we lost sight of our relationship. And I learned the hard way. So I've been a lot more mindful, since that time and really doing reflecting on myself and just understanding, what I did wrong. I've been better with Andrew, but also he is very understanding.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like being being married to another lender, like we were competitors. We never
Oh,
competed. Like
wow.
I didn't feel competitive with him. Like if there was something he could do that I couldn't do, I was always very supportive of that.
Mhm.
But I think just in our mind's eye, we're always striving for more, right? There's never really enough, and
Mhm.
it just really was the breakdown of our relationship. But with Andrew, he's a police officer. He is in a service industry,
Mhm.
not a service, he's not a bartender, you know what I mean? But, there his calling is to serve people.
Mhm.
And so like the monetary facet of that, he's never going to be in competition with me. He's, he's a service hearted person. So
Mhm.
I mean we are too, to be honest, but it's just not something, it really works well in my opinion. Um because he's just never going to feel like he's in competition with me. I don't think.
That's we just have so much in
I
common,
know.
don't we?
I
I
was like,
mean,
you can speak to this.
I can absolutely speak to this. My husband and we've been married 18 years.
Yeah.
And, at 42 years old, that's not something you hear
No,
often
I
from
admire
people.
that. Trust me.
But he is literally my best friend.
Hmm.
And we are so open with each other. And he is so supportive.
Yeah.
He also is from law enforcement. He's retired now. And he is a stay at home dad, is what he likes to say. But
He does say that.
he does now.
Oh, good for
But
him.
I told him, I was like,
He
"You're my
embraces it.
director of operations."
Yes, for sure.
We
You run
actually
this place.
he runs the place. He does all my laundry. He
Yeah.
like understands the family calendar and when our son has, golf tournaments and
Yeah.
all the stuff. And I love that for him
Yeah.
because you know what it's like being married to a police officer. They're on 12-hour shifts.
We had a bad night last night. Andrew's still not home. He had a SWAT call
Mm.
out at 12:30.
Oh gosh,
He's
I
still not
don't
home.
miss the SWAT
He's
calls.
not home.
Yeah. And it's rough, right? Because a lot of people don't understand when you're in 12-hour shifts, they don't ever really get to turn it off.
No.
And they don't get to turn it off to be home either, right?
Yeah.
It's like you work 56 hours one week and 24 hours the next.
Mhm.
You're off every other weekend,
Yep.
which sounds amazing, but in law enforcement, they teach you to always be alert. You
His
have
head's
to
on a
be.
swivel
You're
all the time.
right. And my heart goes out to you because when Derek and I got married, in 2008, this was still when public perception was very embracing
Yeah.
and, police officers were heroes.
Right.
And now everything has changed.
Golly.
And I do understand there have absolutely been some circumstances,
Yeah.
that rightfully so
They've
people
contributed to
would
that for
that
sure.
have contributed to that. Yes. Now do I think that's how it should be as a whole? Absolutely
That's
not.
not the vast majority.
And it's heartbreaking because you said they have this public service in their heart. They have this desire to
Mhm.
serve. Literally, risking their lives every day, particularly in SWAT,
For a very small
for
pay.
very small pay. And I do remember when my husband, was on SWAT, there was a situation, one of the last ones that he had, where it was televised on TV. And I watched my
Mm,
husband almost get shot right in front of me on television
yeah, I couldn't
for
do
the
that.
whole world to see,
Yeah.
and I just don't miss that life.
Yeah.
And
I
it
didn't know what that was gonna
fuels
be
me.
like.
No, and they don't prepare you because
Marry a
my
cop, it'll be fun. He's
right.
hot in his uniform.
Yeah, I think some of the jokes were, "Was he your arresting officer?" Because I was a little bit of a wild child
Yeah.
back in the day, but it grounded me and brought me back so much that it actually kind of fueled me in this industry. I wanted to do whatever I could to bring him home,
Mhm.
so he didn't have to do that. He could do anything. I don't care if he's a greeter at Walmart.
Yeah.
I just knew that I wanted him to have a choice to decide and
Yeah.
not feel like this is what he had to do because it's the only thing that he knows. You know what I mean? And anyway, so now he's come home and he is dominated
I love
the
it.
the whole thing. And so we went to go set up the bank account because I transitioned to an S corp.
Mhm.
And we went to go set up the business bank account and I
He's
added
the
him on it.
president of the company.
Yeah, and they were like, "Well, what's your title?" And he's like, executive assistant? I
You're
was
like,
like,
"No, you're not."
director of
Yeah.
operations. He's like, "Oh, I got a
I got a
I got a
promotion.
promotion." Yeah. So,
Like, don't you forget it.
but you're absolutely right though, because when you live that life, you are they've seen the worst of the worst in
Yeah.
people. They've seen the worst of situations. And so it's almost like you're the whoopee, right? Like they want to, because you're the safe place. They come home from everything that they've
Yeah.
seen and they want to shield us from it. And so
Mhm.
all they know to do is love and support,
Yeah.
right? And they honestly make the best partners in my
Yeah.
opinion. For this industry
That's been
especially.
a rude awakening for me because I'm Susie Sunshine. I'm like American Honey.
Yeah.
Where I'm from, you like leave your keys in the car with the car running with your purse in
Oh,
the
I'm the
car when you
same.
go
Oh
into the
gosh.
grocery store.
Yes.
So, in fact, my car got stolen last year for that very reason.
Okay,
Um,
wait, we gotta talk about that.
we will anyway. But Andrew is from the south side of Chicago
Okay.
and born and raised. And that is a very different upbringing than what I'm used to. So, literally, our biggest fights have been from him. I don't want to say judging, but him knowing what's out there and me not knowing what's out there and me
Yeah.
not wanting to know what's out there. I
There's
don't
something
want to
beautiful
live that
about
way.
ignorant bliss,
I
right?
don't want to live that
I don't
way.
either.
I want to leave my garage door open. I
Mhm.
want to leave my front door unlocked. I don't do that, but I don't want to live in fear.
Yeah.
And he knows all the terrible things that are out there. And so that's been a rude awakening for me. One that I do not like at all.
Yeah.
And so I feel bad because I'm not able to support him the way he needs to be supported because he is trying to shield me from
Mhm.
what he knows and sees.
Mhm.
So, and I'm a
And that's a defense mechanism for sure for them too,
yeah,
because they don't want to bring it home.
yeah.
Home is their
Mhm.
safe place and their haven,
Yeah.
right? It took a long time for me to learn that also
Yeah.
because I was always taught you communicate, like
Yeah.
over communicate. Um,
That's just adding to the stress sometimes.
But it also took him some time to know that he needed to peel back those layers too.
Yeah.
And sometimes time is really what
Yeah.
makes
It's
it.
definitely taken time for
Yeah.
me because, me not being as understanding as I should be with what he has seen in the world has taken some time. So,
But also him being understanding what you've seen
which is
in the
barely
world.
nothing.
I mean, listen. let's
I just know
let's
how to do loans and that's it.
but you know where all the bodies, are built, like the lender always knows where the bodies are
I
buried.
do. I have the funniest stories, I think. I'm not going to tell them all, but to ask me what you want to know and I'll tell you.
Well, okay, so what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about this side
Shoot.
of the transaction?
Okay, so probably number 1 is that lenders are paid based on your rate and fees. We are not. We get paid the same no matter
Mhm.
what your rate is and no matter what. I could charge you $20,000 in fees. I still make the same thing.
Mhm.
So it does not
It's
benefit
regulated,
me at
right?
all. Yes.
Okay.
We are contractually obligated to be paid the same thing no matter what. They changed that in 2010. In fact, it's been so long since we've been paid a commission based off of the interest rate or the fees.
Hmm.
So I think people still
Since the
think
housing
that.
crash.
Yes.
Okay. Mortgage
Yes.
crisis.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the biggest conceptions. I get treated like a car salesman a lot, which I find super funny because, I close 70 to $80 million a year. I
Hmm.
am in no way a car salesman. I
Hmm.
am at the top of my professional game. But I do find it funny. I mean, I never say anything like that, but, people treat me like I work in a call center sometimes. I don't know. Um, but the other misconception is that there is one rate out there
Oh,
per day.
yeah.
So I still have agents that call me and they say, "What's the rate today?" I'm like, there's 25 different factors that
Variables.
determine someone's interest rate.
Right.
I'm like, is it a purchase or a refi? What's the credit score? How much are they putting down? What's their debt ratio? Are they self-employed? I mean, there is no one rate out
Hmm.
there. When people say like, well, the average rate today is 6.875. Uh, yeah, for a perfect credit score
Hmm.
with a huge down payment. I mean, there's just
In a 90-10 debt to ratio.
literally
Yeah.
like, and I mean, these are like good agents that I work with all the time that
Yeah.
call and say, "Oh, what's the rate today?"
Or, hey, when are rates going to drop?
Yeah.
When are rates going to come
Yeah.
down?
Well, I've been lying to people for 3 years now.
Oh my
So
gosh. It's
I've literally been thinking, and I haven't been promising by any means because, gosh, if I was an economist, I wouldn't be doing loans. I'd be on a boat in the Caribbean somewhere.
with
Um,
your laptop notes.
yeah, but I have no idea. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've genuinely thought they were going to go down for the last 3 years, just like everyone else.
It's pretty
Um,
wild.
they're not bad right now. They have come down some.
I think
And
we
on
thought
an average, they're like the average they've been for the last, gosh, 50 years.
40 years was
Yeah.
7 to 8%. I
Yeah.
actually
So
just did a video about this today.
seriously.
Hmm.
And most everything's in the sixes right now.
And in the 80s, it was 12 to 18%.
When I started in this business, I started doing subprime loans
Hmm.
and
Can
rates
you
were like
explain
12.
what that is? Subprime,
So loans that didn't fit the like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac box.
non-conforming.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was like your interest only loans, balloon notes, interest only 80/20s, like with zero down, stated income. I hate to say that. People think I caused the mortgage breakdown myself when I say that. But we did that. Like no income, no asset loans. That's kind of how I started the business. I mean, I did conforming loans too,
Hmm.
but for the most part, everybody could fit into a non-conforming loan.
Hmm.
So I'll never forget when I locked my first FHA loan, and it was like 7.5. I thought it was like, we're never gonna see rates lower than this. This is the
Really?
best rate
And
I've
what year was
ever
this?
seen. 2002 or three, probably.
Okay. 7.5% and on an FHA.
Yeah.
And what are they now? FHA,
They're in the
roughly.
low sixes, high
Okay.
fives, pretty much.
Yeah.
I would say low sixes for the most part.
Wow.
But still good.
It's very good when you put it perspective like that, you know?
Yeah.
So what is your biggest frustration when
What I
you've
just
got
said.
yes. But okay, so let's talk about two different, right? Like what is your biggest maybe not frustration but challenge when you're dealing with an agent and also what's been your biggest challenge when dealing with a client?
I think right this second, the biggest challenge would be uneducated agents
Mhm.
because so many, I work with some very good new agents, I will say that. But there's some out there. I like working with new agents actually because then I know that they're being trained the right way. But I work with some, or they come across on the selling side or something, and their lack of knowledge literally ruins the transaction.
Mhm.
They have not prepared their seller adequately. I've got one I'm working with right now. It's not on the buyer side, it's on the seller side, and it's ruining the loan
Oh gosh.
because, a home has to have a stove in it. It
Mhm.
has to have a stove, period.
It doesn't have a
Conventional,
stove?
nope. And they're like, well,
How does it not have a
can the
stove?
buyers put one in? No, they cannot.
How does it even pass
It
inspection without a
can't.
stove?
It can't. It
It
cannot.
doesn't have a stove?
No, girl, this happens all the damn time.
What?
You should see what I see. Anyway, and the seller's agent didn't prepare the sellers for this.
Oh
So,
gosh.
not only are they not prepared for any FHA required repairs, the home has to have a stove.
Mhm.
And my buyers are not paying for that. They're not putting that in before they close on the home. And we
Right.
can't close without that.
But also, why would you ever pay for something before you own a home?
I've had clients that love the home so much they've definitely done it before.
Sure.
I don't advise it.
Right.
But I do have clients where the seller just does not have any more money. Like just does not.
Which,
Period. It happens.
I can understand that.
And there were maybe appraisal required repairs. The
Mhm.
buyers had their own handyman or, whatever the case may be, it's happened. Of course the buyer, has to make the decision on that. And usually we don't do it until we're clear to close, like if it's a funding condition
Yeah.
or something.
But a
Um,
stove.
mhm.
How do
But
you
it's
how do you
just
cook?
well, they're gonna put
In a
it in because
microwave?
we're not closing
That's
without
it?
it.
You just do a microwave?
No, you have to do a stove. There
I
has to
know,
be
but that's
some.
what I'm saying is I'm I
This
don't know.
home is like an estate. Um, I don't know how we got here
It's
to
an
this.
estate?
It's an estate, yes. The kids are
With
selling the home for the parents that passed.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know how
Huh.
this happened, but it is just the uneducated agents out there that are wreaking havoc on my life. I mean, if an appraisal comes in low because the home wasn't priced right, it's not my fault.
Right.
It is not the appraiser's fault.
You
It's
get
not the
yelled at a
lender's
lot,
fault.
don't you?
Yes.
Lenders, my heart actually really hurts for the lenders because I feel like they're the ones that get the brunt end of the
Sometimes
deal.
they deserve it.
Listen, I just had a deal that I think actually it's the one I called you about,
Yeah.
where literally we had a clear to close on
Mhm.
one of my listings, and we were supposed to close on Friday morning.
Yeah.
We had the clear to close on Tuesday. On Thursday at 4:45, we get an email from the lender, not a phone call, an email copying all parties that it went through quality control and got flagged. And
Mhm.
so now there was no way we're closing. And then she refused to answer the phone for
Did
2
that
hours.
close?
It closed, but it
Okay,
took
thank
yeah,
God.
it was a mess. And then she wouldn't tell us what got flagged. It was a whole thing. It was but I was so frustrated because when I spoke to her on Tuesday, they needed an amendment from us.
Mhm.
For the appraisal came in $5,000 over our purchase
Oh,
price, and they
nice.
wanted it, of course, to come back to them as a seller concession. And I was like, listen, as long as I'm up to date and I'm caught in the loop and you communicate with me, no
No
problem.
problem.
No problem. I don't care what the buyers need. That's totally fine. We'll get it
Mhm.
signed off and everything. And then
Yeah.
this chick, I set the expectation.
Just
She sent
communicate.
the
That's
email,
it.
just communicate, and then didn't answer the phone for 2 hours, and I was just like, "Bro, I mean,
That just ruins
what just
transactions.
happened?" Yeah, because my clients are wanting to know what's going on, and I have no answers for them,
And you're
and
stewing
they're
for
upset
2
with me now.
hours. 2 hours you're stewing, thinking
2
the worst, the worst, the
hours.
worst.
Like,
No.
pick up the phone and give
Yeah.
me a heads up before you
Yeah.
send that email. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, okay, we've talked about some fun stuff, but now I kind of want to shift gears a little bit because, this is called Real to the T.
That's right.
And so I want to get does everybody understand the whole real to the T thing? Because,
I get it.
realty, right?
I love
Okay,
it.
play on
Whoever thought of
words.
that, genius.
I did, actually. It
Okay,
came to me in my
genius.
sleep because that's where all of my business ideas come to me. But I want to talk about the T. And one of the things that I love to talk about with you is pulp culture and social media influencers. So, Cara, today I want to bring it to your attention that we are officially at the 3-year mark from the Johnny Depp and
Mhm.
Amber Heard trial.
Yep.
Can you believe that? Like, I
It
feel
seems like
like
yesterday a little bit.
it really does.
I don't feel like we had a lot of time to dive deep into that as much as we wanted to because that was happening during like the busiest time in
It
real
was.
estate.
I caught the last week.
Yeah.
I remember turning it on because I was doing a continuing education class on
Yeah.
like at my computer at my home office, and I turned it on and I actually abandoned and ran out the clock on my CE
Yeah.
because it was when he was holding or no, he was on the stand and he goes, "Mega pint." Like with that little smirk.
Mhm.
And I was like, wait, what are they talking about? And then I got sucked in. And then I literally, the last 3 days of the trial, watched it from sunup to sundown.
I'm just a huge Johnny Depp fan, so I was already vested or like I always one-sided for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
And then as the information came out, she just looked crazier and crazier and crazier to me. It wasn't like it
Not
wasn't like a
believable.
Me Too moment for me. It was just like, girl,
Yeah,
please.
I agree. I really, and this is somebody that comes from the entertainment industry that was an actress, and I was like,
Ugh. Ugh.
it just did not
She was
translate.
distasteful to me.
Yeah,
Still is. Like
it
there's
didn't translate well at all.
mm-mm.
But I believe that it was sort of the start of
The
this
celebrity trial. I mean,
this liberty trial, aspect, and also kind of this growth of these influencers online,
yeah,
particularly regarding pop culture,
yeah,
right? And kind of the underbelly of what's going on, in entertainment
yeah.
and politics and all these things, right? So I want to know, because you know that I was a casting director in reality TV,
hmm
and I want to know what your guilty pleasure trashy TV show
I am
is.
like so embarrassed to admit this, but the other day, so I do not watch a lot of reality TV, but I
Okay.
did get my hair done the other day and I
Hmm.
watched the whole fullness of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It was
Shocking.
mouth drop.
Uh huh.
It was devastating to me, to be honest,
So I'm halfway
because
first through the first episode. I started watching it for my
I
workouts.
watched like 3 seasons or whatever.
Oh, you
Like
did?
almost I watched like 10 I don't even know how much I
Yeah.
watched, but I was there for a while trying to get this freaking hair back to
You got the
wedding.
big Texas hair. I love
Girl.
it.
Um I was so I was just shocked.
Hmm.
I thought it was going to be like a little bit of like religion and like it was not.
Yeah, no,
It was debauchery.
it is, so much so that it makes you wonder.
I was so
I,
disappointed.
I also like, I almost just want to be like, sister child. Do you need
I
a friend?
I
Do you need a
know.
friend? Because why are you spilling all of this stuff?
Mhm.
I'm all for a little bit of tea, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but that is far too much.
Like your children are seeing this. I don't think
Yes.
they care. I
I
mean,
don't
I
think
just
they
don't
care
know that
either.
any reality stars really do care.
Uh-huh.
But I was just gravely disappointed
Mhm.
for our society.
Mhm.
And like the Mormon people that I know are like the salt of the earth,
Yeah.
amazing. Like my daughter has there's actually a large population of Latter-day Saints in Prosper
Mhm.
and in this area, and they're the best people. And I bet they are just
Well, I went to Park City, Utah in February for the first time ever.
yeah.
And we actually flew into Provo. So if you ever go, fly into Provo, because one, first class seats are a lot cheaper. It's like
Hmm,
half the price
good to
than flying
know.
into Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
You're welcome for that.
Mhm.
That's the tea.
Mhm.
But also, it is the most beautiful drive. They have like 4 gates, maybe,
Wow.
and it's where the college town is.
Yeah.
So you fly in. It's this beautiful airport. It's super easy to get in and out of. It's an hour
Well, Brigham
drive
Young
to
is just
Park City.
gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, it's stunning.
Yeah.
But sure enough, just the way of life. They're very close knit with their family and
Mhm.
kind and respectful and just everything. So I was shocked, like
Mhm.
you. I was shocked, like so much so that I got through the first half of the episode. I was like, "Ooh, I don't know. I don't know." Listen, I love me some mob wives, but I feel like
Yeah.
going, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is going a little too far for me.
Yeah.
But I do
I had
love Jersey Shore,
seen
specifically Family Vacation. And do you know that my husband watches it with me?
No,
Yeah, yeah. Uh
girl.
huh. I know. That's you're welcome for that.
I didn't even know that was still
Yeah, it
on.
is. It comes on
Girl,
tonight, actually.
I'm dying. So,
Thursdays.
Love Island.
Thursday's Thursday.
Do you watch Love Island?
Not yet, but I've heard that one's pretty good.
Okay, so I had 9 teenagers in my house all night, Tuesday night, watching Love Island, and they were screaming.
Were
I
they?
thought Andrew was gonna come unglued. But they are so obsessed with this. They like sit down and like watch the episode the second it comes out. It's ridiculous. And then I posted about it, and then I have all these friends coming out of the woodwork.
Hmm.
They all
Apparently, it's a
love it.
huge thing.
My
Yeah.
boss loves it. He
Really?
was talking about it on our sales call.
Huh.
He's like 57 years old.
Okay. Well, I saved it. I haven't started it yet, but
No,
I
I
did
haven't
save it.
started it.
I just started the second season of America's Sweethearts,
Okay, I've
the
been
Dallas
watching
Cowboy
that here and there.
cheerleaders.
Yeah, I've been watching that here and there.
Yeah, that one also kind of hurts my heart a little bit, right? Because they're so focused on the body image.
Mhm.
And listen, I understand it's a brand, right? It's
Yeah.
all about the marketing and everything. But then I'm like, these girls are just being berated and beat
Yeah, but they
down.
know what they're
They
getting
do,
into.
they do, but it still hurts my heart because they're so young and they're so
Yeah.
formidable, And I'm like, honey, I wish somebody had told me at 18, your curves are
I
make
got
you who
weighed
you are.
every week at 18. I was a college cheerleader, and I can't imagine if they did this now. But if we hit
Yeah.
1 pound over 120,
Uh huh.
we were running around the gym.
Yep. Same.
So, and
And
120,
I
that
was
was big.
short and stocky already,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, I had the bigger thighs and I
Yeah.
had the junk in the trunk and I
Yeah.
had, the things that everybody now pay for.
Right. Me.
You know, you're so funny. You look good, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do. You look really good. Okay. So, going back to the influencer kind of status and how social media really exploded this, real crime stuff.
Mhm.
There are some significant uh trials that are incoming.
Mhm.
Who
What
are
are
you
they?
watching now? Well, there's
That Karen Reed trial
the Karen Reed
that
trial.
happened yesterday, the verdict that came out
Uh-huh.
yesterday, that was I didn't watch the trial,
I
but I
don't know
did
enough, to be
follow the
honest.
case. Well, you need to because she was
I heard.
accused of killing her
I
police
heard.
officer.
But they're saying it was a cover up,
Right.
allegedly.
Yeah, you need
Right?
to look into that.
Yeah. Because
That's very
they're
interesting.
saying that he had blood on his shirt,
Right.
indicating that he bled after sitting up.
Right.
Where what the prosecution indicated is that she was drunk driving, I believe, right? And hit him with her car
Mhm.
in a fit of a rage over, I think, a fight or something.
They were basically
And
saying he was out in the snow and that
yeah,
he
and that
could
he
the body
died of
was
hypothermia because she hit him with the
left him
car and
there.
left him there.
Yeah.
That's all I really know, but I understand that this is the second or third trial
I don't
because
know about that,
they
but
keep coming to a mistrial.
well, this one the verdict was in like was
Okay,
found not guilty.
not guilty.
Yeah.
Well,
I think there was a lot of people behind her on that one.
we've got a few other ones that are incoming. Of course, the Moscow, Idaho.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So who are you following for that? Because that starts in August.
I would assume I'll probably follow Be Better.
Be
Do you know who
better.
that is?
I don't know. Be better.
So he has followed the Blake Lively,
Oh,
Justin
oh,
Baldoni file.
where are
Or
you on that? Are you Team Blake or are you Team Justin?
Justin, for
Mhm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand her.
Yeah.
Like, cannot stand Ryan Reynolds at all.
Wow.
Like, I don't think I could support anything they do from this point forward.
Sure.
But he doesn't have a legal background. Obviously, I do. But he has gone through every single page of every single filing in the case.
Did you read the entire when he dropped them on the website?
I didn't read it. I just
Oh, I read all. It was like, I don't know.
hundreds of pages.
Yeah, it
thousands
was
of
like
pages.
275 pages of
Interesting.
something. I read
He read
every
all of it,
piece.
so I was just following him. I will probably follow him on. Who do you think I should follow? Because that has me really that has me really worried, to be honest. We have children that are about to go to college.
I know. Me too. Me too.
And gosh, I don't
And
even know what to
it's so
think about that.
mysterious too, because you've got these roommates that were out partying, as a lot of college kids
Right.
do. You have a DoorDash driver who now was leaked yesterday that she says that she saw Brian on site. Yes.
Really?
The DoorDash driver was arrested on a suspicion of a DUI. She was taken into custody and in her interview said that she was the DoorDash driver. And yes, this
Why
all
is that
came
just
out.
coming out?
Apparently there was a quiet public records request that was
For 4
submitted.
years?
Yes. And some
What?
YouTuber put it up on YouTube and it flew under the radar until Reddit got a hold of it this week. And now it's like blowing up everything. And so they're thinking that that's the big kind of smoking gun for the prosecution.
Wow. I would say so for
Yeah.
sure.
Who's okay, so we've talked about this before. There's the Instagram attorney with the purple hair and the glasses that I love. Do you remember her name? I can't remember her name. House and Habit likes her also. How do you feel about House and Habit?
Since you and I talked about this and since all of that went down, I have literally almost stopped following her.
Mhm.
Not because I dislike her, I just don't know what to believe now.
I will say, as of lately, she has said that she kind of lost her way a bit.
Okay.
And
that makes sense.
listen, you've got all these things and all these sources thrown at you and you're providing for your family. I can understand that. And I have a deep level of appreciation for somebody that can own when a mistake occurs. You and I had talked about that. And that was my biggest struggle with her was that, at that time she was spatting back, the she and the Candace thing and never apologized for the way she treated one of her fans.
And one of
in
her friends.
the chat and one of her friends.
Yeah.
And then when she apologized and took ownership for it, I'm like, okay, I can understand because I'm
Mhm.
spicy too. It takes me a lot to get there, but once I get there, I can be reactive. And I
Yeah,
don't
it's
want to be
0 to 60.
reactive, but I can definitely be that. And so I
Mhm.
can certainly understand. And so now she's really backtracking. She's kind of taking it back to the basics because, sort of shifted from entertainment and went full on 100% into politics.
Politics, yeah.
And now she's really kind of come back to a really solid mix of both. Um, she's also, oh gosh, I don't remember the name, but they did a Hulu series on her. She was the biomechanics CEO chick that Amanda, what's the one with the really beautiful blue eyes? Amanda Pete, no, Amanda. Oh shoot, I can't think of it. They did a show about it where she played her.
Hmm.
Elizabeth something or other, and she basically was charged for essentially running a Ponzi scheme. And allegedly she was on the cusp of this science, information that would genetically indicate markers in your body that would allow you to, if I recall, kind of like, know if you how to like beat cancer or
Yeah,
not have a heart
your
attack and all these things.
predisposition.
Yeah, like predispositions. And allegedly the test kept coming back saying that the machinery didn't work. The software and this tech that she'd built wasn't working, but she was still raising money as if it was, and
Oh,
allegedly, fudging the
I did not
reports and the
see that.
numbers. So she's been imprisoned, and allegedly they are bringing it back to the forefront for an appeal. And so House and Habit's now been covering that, which has been really
I probably
interesting.
need to look into her a little bit more because it's getting really super spicy with Tucker Carlson,
Yeah,
Candace Owen, Joe Rogan.
all of them.
I mean, I'm probably more into that than I am reality TV.
Yeah,
Um, just in seeing both sides and also having a child in the military.
yeah.
I follow that stuff very closely.
Mhm.
Um, but I probably should watch her a little bit more. But I almost like it was almost like cold turkey. I was like, nope, done.
But I also like to that's kind of the way that I wind down at night, but I
Yeah, me
also do it
too.
in doses because sometimes it really stresses me
Hmm.
out if there's just
It's
like you
been
said.
stressing me out lately
It's
with the
been
Iran
stressing me
things, and
out, absolutely, and, and also kinda hurts my heart because I don't like to see people, like, just going at each other. I'm
not at
more
all.
like a, "Hey, I woke up this morning" type of person,
Yeah,
like, that's a huge gift,
yeah.
in my opinion, but I have been really enjoying grabbing my popcorn at night and scrolling these moms groups locally and
Oh
some of these posts in
shoot.
here that they're doing anonymously, and I'm like, "What
See,
were you
I'm not on
thinking?"
any of those, but people sent the one I sent to you.
Yes.
Someone sent to me.
Yes.
Um, what are people thinking?
I don't know. I feel like Facebook needs to have a "Are you okay?" before you post this. Like
Yes.
think 3 times. Like do you approve? Yes. Do you really approve? Yes. Can you sit for 15 minutes and then ask it again before it
Especially
actually
in a
posts?
professional setting. I mean,
Right.
if you're just a mom complaining about bullying or, something along those, I get that. I mean,
Mhm.
it's probably pretty impulsive when it comes to your kids, but some of these like business owners and professionals out there, I am just floored.
Yeah.
Floored. Like the tone deaf, I don't know. I've just been, I guess common sense is like a virtue now because
Yeah.
it's very rare.
It's very rare, and also I feel like you can be super authentic and very transparent on social
Hmm.
media, and that's definitely something I try to do. But also, I'm very aware that I don't want to put out my crap to everybody else. Like if I'm having a rough day, I think
Yeah.
it's perfectly fine to be like, "Hey, I'm having a rough day." But I also don't want to sit and live in that space to
Mm-mm.
where I'm also fully putting out just constant negativity
Yes.
also. You know
I
what I'm
mean, and we
saying?
really could because
Yeah.
honestly, what we do is very hard. I don't think people understand how taxing and stressful what we do is.
Mhm.
It's not life or death, but you would know that. Um,
Sometimes it almost is though. I mean, we're dealing with people's lives and
yeah, but it's
and
not life or
they're
death. It's not like what Andrew
not
does.
right, not like our
It's not like
husbands.
healthcare or
But
whatever,
sometimes
but
people are literally about to lose,
yes,
large
like
sums of money
crash
and
out.
right, and earnest money, by way of a mistake of
Right.
X, Y, and Z or whatever, or if a deal falls through and
Hmm.
they're out of the option period and they're going to lose their earnest money, and sometimes this is 10, 20, $30,000,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of
Oh,
money.
absolutely. It's all relative to everyone, whether
Right.
it's $1,000 or 30,000.
Right.
it's relative to the person, and we have to be so respectful of that, but also it's high stakes for us because we're straight commissioned employees.
Mhm.
So, we want that deal to go smoothly and work and everyone be happy and get closed. And I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many other parties in the transaction that we can't control.
Mhm.
It's very stressful.
Mhm.
So,
If we don't close it, we don't eat.
right.
Yeah.
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 I would say I don't get paid unless this closes. I have no incentive at all to make this harder for you than what it is
Mhm.
because I have done days, weeks, months of work for
Mhm.
free if you don't
Mhm.
close.
Exactly.
So it is in my vested interest to make sure this gets done for everyone.
Right.
People don't understand that.
Yeah.
Like my company ain't paying me unless the loan closes, period.
What is the wildest deal that you've worked on?
Oh my gosh, girl. We were talking about this in my team last night. I I will say this, and I don't want to like put this advertisement out there, but I would say like 70 to 80% of what we do is like hanging by a thread.
Mhm.
So I think I've created that reputation in the market that I do really hard stuff.
Mhm.
We could not think of the hardest deal. We all had our own view of what the hardest deals were. Um, I can think of some funny deals if you want to hear that.
Yeah, let
Um,
what's one of the funniest ones that's memorable to you?
so I had a client 2 months ago sell snakes for his down payment.
Oh, like pet
So
snakes or just he went and dug them out of
I
the
don't know
yard?
where he got them from, but
Huh.
he was selling snakes for his down payment. So
Okay.
we documented the snakes. Um, yeah.
I'm sorry, you have to document the snakes.
Yeah, we had to show a bill of sale and
Okay. Did
yeah,
he have to get them registered like as an animal or a
I don't
pet
know. I
or
didn't see any of
you're
that.
like
Thank
don't
God we
ask,
didn't
don't
require
tell?
that.
Right.
Um, we've had people
Snakes.
sell chickens.
Hmm.
So we had I had a client that I was sitting at the closing table with. This was years ago. And the name affidavit
Uh-huh.
that both borrowers sign,
Right.
and it's any names that came up on the credit report.
Right.
So basically, it's like misspellings of your actual name.
Yeah.
Sometimes it says like Dr. Cara Hawkins,
Mhm.
there's just randomness on that page always. So the husband was looking over the shoulder of the wife, and the wife had a name on there that he knew, and
She was
she had
having an
been
affair.
no, she had been married before him, and she didn't tell him. And they had been married like 15 years. And she's like, "Remember I told you." And
At the closing table.
he was like,
Oh, that's
"Nope.
so
That's
awkward.
definitely something I would have remembered." So
Wow.
he keeps signing and his face is just bright red. He's sweating.
I'm sweating now. Like that just made my whole face.
So he keeps signing, and then probably 5 minutes later, he just pushes away from the table. He just gets up and he leaves her there. He left her at the title company.
He's probably like knocking on the door. Hey, do you guys have an attorney
Literally, he
in
got
house?
in the car and drove off, and she was running after him in the parking lot crying.
Wow.
Yeah. I've had clients get in a fist fight in my office.
Wow.
They found out about some debt
Mm-hmm.
that the other spouse did not know they had. I've had clients on the phone. I'm talking to both the husband and wife, and I'm going through the credit report with them.
Mm-mm.
And I came across a mortgage, and the husband goes, "We're going to have to call you back." So I'm like, "Okay, no problem. Let me know when you can talk. It's a better time."
Yeah.
The husband calls me back, and he was whispering. He goes, "I had to do it." And I'm like, "You had to do what?" He goes, "I had to buy the house." And I'm like, "What house?" He goes, "I had to buy a house for my girlfriend in Vegas."
Oh no.
And I love
Oh
these clients. I've
no.
closed 3 loans
Yeah.
for them. I
Yeah.
love them. I love both of them. He's like, and I won't say the name, but he's like, "You're not gonna tell so and so, are you?" I was like, "Absolutely not. But you need to."
Uh-huh. You're like, that's not my business, but
Nope.
oh my goodness.
I've
Oh my
got
goodness.
hundreds
Yeah.
of stories like that. I mean,
Yeah.
just lately I had to verify someone's purchases and they had some fun stuff on there. I mean, I've had clients send pictures of their documents like they're standing over them, but he was standing in his underwear and took the whole
Oh
picture of
no.
everything. Like the documents were on the table,
Oh
but he was
no.
standing like this and he was wearing his
Showed everything.
panties.
His skivvies.
Yeah.
Gosh. Well, listen,
We listen and we don't judge.
exactly. We listen and we don't
It's
judge.
not all numbers to me.
I mean,
That's
and
what people
part of
need to
it,
know.
we are very much, whether it's the realtor or the lender, like
Yeah.
we are the glorified therapists.
Yeah.
in a transaction. Always.
Yeah.
We find out the worst of the worst, the
Yeah.
best of the best, the saddest of the saddest, the
Yep.
happiest of the happiest, and that's kind of the roller coaster of the emotions because you have to be all of it
Yep.
at any given time. But, that's the other thing that I love so much, Kara, is that we know that this business is all about relationships, right?
Absolutely.
I love that you and I can come together. We can laugh. We can spill the tea. We keep it very authentic, which I love
Yeah.
so much about you.
I probably had some more I
Um,
could say.
but it's also about service and
Yeah.
truth and knowledge and and when to speak up and also coming outside of real estate, we're business owners, right? Like you built a business,
Absolutely.
I've built a business. Um, what is it? And building a business is not for the faint of heart. Real estate is not for
This
the faint of heart.
business is not for the faint of heart.
No, but particularly in building a business. And, you know, when doing so, the days can feel lonely,
Mhm.
right? And they can be very long and hard, and you get no vacations, and you work 7 days a week, and there are sleepless nights and whatnot. So, what piece of advice would you give agents or other lenders or business owners who are afraid to be bold in their business?
I think I live by this, and I don't know if this has to do with being bold, but there's never a time when hard work doesn't pay off,
Right? I
ever.
love that.
So for me, like, I never look back and say, gosh, I worked so hard and I got no benefit or I got no fruit from my labor.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that I've really, you know, put boots on the ground, put my heart and soul into something, that work has paid off. And I think that's probably the same in absolutely any industry that you're in, but this industry will test that
Mm-hmm.
because, if you think about a lender, for instance, I'm technically like an 8 to 5 employee, right? I'm a
Yeah.
W-2 employee. I have hours. I need to be in the office during business hours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then after I get off work, that's when business actually
Uh-huh.
starts. So I end up working 10 to 12 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
every single day,
Mm-hmm.
and then on weekends as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think some agents realize that because they're like, lenders work like we do. Well, no, they don't. I have to be in the office when the underwriters are in the office,
Right.
when my processors are in the office, and
Right.
they're literally 8 to 5 employees,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I start pre approving people,
Mm-hmm.
talking on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's
When they're all off work, this is when they're
right,
available to start talking to you.
right.
Yeah.
So it's literally 10 to 12 hours a day, sometimes more, and then every single weekend because that's when offers are made. That's
Mhm.
when people are off work.
Mhm.
So that's just been one of my I won't want to say pet peeves because I think that's what has made me successful.
Yeah.
But I've given up a lot
Mhm.
to work
It's a
that
lot of
way.
sacrifice.
It is, but it's also the reason I've been able to be at every one of my kids' practices
Mhm.
and take the vacations that we've had and it's the reason I can live my life the
Right.
way that I do. So, yes, it's a lot of hours, but, I'm so blessed to be able to work from my phone or work from my laptop. You
Mhm.
can't do that,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, you can to a certain extent, but you can't show houses from your laptop.
No.
So,
And everybody always wants to see houses at 7, 8 o'clock at
right,
night, or
right.
when and you mentioned, I mean, the weekend is for realtors. I mean,
Yeah.
Saturday and
That's your
Sunday,
game time.
that's Monday and Tuesday for us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So listen, I just really appreciate that you and I very much hold true that in business, real will always take you farther than fake.
100%.
And
There's so much fake out there right
there's so
now.
much fake out there. And while we like our bouginess, and I
Yeah.
got my fake lashes, and you got extensions, and
Yes.
we typically will have our spray tans and all that stuff, from our hearts, we are as real as it can get.
Yeah.
And so I just really appreciate it, especially you coming and being one of the first guests here.
I'm so honored to be asked.
Oh my gosh.
I've been so excited about this.
Well, anytime I'm with you, my ribs hurt because I'm like always chuckling,
Yeah.
because you make me
Yeah.
giggle so much. And I just appreciate you showing up with full fire today. But also, if people wanted to follow you on social or they wanted to
Mhm.
get in contact with you to ask you any other questions or, get information on, your opinion regarding mortgage or rates or get pre approved or whatever, how
Yeah.
can they find you?
I mean, so my Instagram is just the Cara Hawkins team.
The Cara Hawkins team.
The Cara Hawkins team,
Yes.
which that remains to be seen how much longer that will be. We have quite a conversation brewing on that with the impending marriage coming up.
Oh,
Um, We'll get into that at another time.
Next episode.
Yeah.
That just means
Cara
you have to
gets
come
married.
back. Cara part 2.
Um,
Is Cara a Hawkins?
I know. My kids are like, can't you hyphenate? Because they do not want me to change my name.
Yeah,
They don't. They want me to have the same last name as them. And I understand that.
I can understand that too.
Also, I've been Hawkins half my life.
Right.
Over half my life. So
And what's the new last name?
Pratt.
Oh,
It's easy.
yeah.
At least it's not something crazy.
But I feel like Cara Hawkins.
Well,
It's
that's
like,
because that's how everyone knows me.
yeah,
I didn't change my last name to Hawkins until I went to law school.
yeah.
So it took a bit to change it to that as well. But I was
feel like we're gonna
hyphenated
have
for a
to-
while.
We're gonna have to have you back and see which way you go about this. We're gonna have to follow
We get
this
some
journey.
videos on the wedding, and we'll see how that goes. So
But you can also follow Cara.
yes, at the Cara Hawkins team.
At the Cara Hawkins team, and we'll
Yes.
determine if she makes the change or not makes the change.
That's right.
Cara, thank you. You're the
Thank
best.
you.
I appreciate you so much. Oh, let's cheers. First
Yay.
off. We gotta. I'm
With my
behind you on the
lipstick.
champagne
I was
thing.
like with my lipstick.
Cheers. I'll take a quick cig and then we'll wrap up. Well, that is a wrap on this episode of Real to the Tea. Thank you so much for Cara coming and for you guys tuning in again. If you laughed, if you've learned something, or you just feel a little more inspired to live loud and go after it, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with your favorite bold soul. We'll make sure we tag Cara so you guys can find her easily on Instagram and over on Facebook. And of course, you can tag me also on Instagram at Amanda Rupley. That's Rupley, kind of like Ripley, but with a U. Or follow us over at Real to the Tea with your favorite takeaway. I love seeing what's landing with you guys. But remember, real talk, real tea, real stories, unapologetically told, as Cara and I have done today,
Yes.
with all her fun stuff behind the mic, because you can't make magic in beige lighting, which is why we have this beautiful
Shoot.
white lighting here. And they wanted tea, but we gave them bubbles because
right.
you're champagne sister. Until next time, stay fabulous, stay fearless, and always spill it like it is. But next week, make sure you catch in because we're diving into the craziest deal I've ever done.
Oh, I can't wait.
You don't want to miss this one. We're talking, I had $1 million hard earnest money on the line. I'm sorry, non-refundable hard earnest money on the line with a looming foreclosure that we had no extensions and I had to close this thing in 30 days. You don't want to miss it.